Hey everyone, I thought I'd try using a face cam today. If you want to hear my excuses as why I was gone for 7 days, that'll be at the end of the video. But today we're going to cover some news that happened on the front lines. In the Kherson direction, there have been some developments. You can comment below and say I'm hot, because I already know. Snihurivka is one of Russia's big settlements in the region. They use this settlement as the main linchpin of defense in this whole area. Reportedly, there was a convoy of troops heading south out of the city. However, Ukraine hit this convoy with a precision strike. We're not entirely sure what was in this convoy yet, but it must have been important because Ukraine launched an assault into the city. They managed to gain a foothold in the northern outskirts of the city, which is huge if true. This is Russia's main defense area, so if it does fall, the consequences are going to be massive. The area south of the city is really weird with a ton of water canals in the area. But after Snihurivka, the area below is not defended too heavily. They'll likely be able to push Russia to this line of settlements right here, which likely won't be that defended. The cities to the left would be flanked, so it's likely that the line would develop to be something like this. There's a couple small roads here, but if Ukraine's able to take over Barativka, that would completely cut it off from the main supply highway stuff yeah. So if they begin to press their advantage here, they can probably work their way down a little bit. If they do make it past here, they'll likely be stopped at Oleksandrivka. This is one of Russia's big defense settlements in the region. That'll make attacking Vinohradne, Horohivske, and Svatove easier. And in this region, it's mostly just fields, so advances will probably happen pretty quick. If they're fast enough, they could essentially encircle the settlements up by this water reservoir up around this area. And if they're fast enough, they could force the Russian defense line to be somewhere around Oleksandrivka to Kiselivka. This would severely worsen the positions on the right half of the Inhulets River. There are crossings across this river, and it's generally only about 180 feet wide in most parts. Being in this deep may potentially have the right half have to evacuate a bit. Now from here, the defense of Kherson is going to be very hard. And I'm not even sure if Ukraine will try to do a breakthrough here because Russia has been setting up a ton of artillery firing positions along the right bank of the Dnipro River. Russia knows that they're going to lose Kherson. It's very hard to hold it to cross a river, and Ukraine has the advantage, and it's just a matter of time from here. So they're trying to take advantage of that by setting up firing positions all across the river to attempt to attack them while they're in the city and clearing it out. Russia is not going to evacuate Kherson. They are evacuating equipment and men from the right half, or the northern right half, but they probably won't fully evacuate from the city. They will definitely fight for it. Also, a lot of Russian bots are probably going to say that they're retreating from Snihurivka as a trap to get Ukraine in Kherson, but I don't think this is true because Russia would not just retreat from such a strategically important city that they've spent months preparing for. I'm not saying any of this right here is going to happen, I'm just saying what could possibly happen if such an important city is taken. In other regions of the front line, I've been kind of MIA, so I haven't been able to talk about Pavlivka at all. But basically, Russia was going to try to do an offensive on Vuhledar, so they launched an assault, and that's pink. So they launched an assault and took over about half of Pavlivka. However, there were many problems with this because it's a very hard position to hold, and they didn't clear out the basements in some of the areas, so Ukraine kind of took that straight right back. And now it appears like Ukraine has full control of the town. Another area I haven't been able to talk about is Pisky. Or Pisky, that's the same in American and Ukrainian. However, the main Ukrainian defense around Pisky was breached, and Russia launched an offensive towards Vodyane and Opitne. I forgot. Their main goal is to try to encircle Avdiivka from two sides. However, it's going to be very hard with the geography and the settlements in the region. It appears like Ukraine has stabilized defense around Vodyane and Opitne and possibly even pushed them back. And that's what we got there. Now, up in the Luhansk front, I don't know, I think I had a dream that I made a video about this, but Ukraine has improved their position around Stelmahivka and are currently preparing an assault on Kuzemivka. Ukraine's been doing a lot in the Kiselivka region. In the last video I made a couple years ago, I talked about how they took over Mykolaievka and they're pushing on Orlenske. Now they've taken over Ivanivka, and it seems like this group may just get folded. If that does happen, that'll be a big breakthrough. They'll likely be able to push up to the settlements by Nizhnya Duvanka, but check out the last video I made to see more information about a potential scenario where that happens. Alright, now it's time to apologize. Also, sorry, but the audio's about to get really bad here for some reason. I'm sorry that I haven't been uploading recently, but there's a couple reasons of why I'm not. It seems like news recently has been coming out a bit slower, but that's to be expected. And it takes up a lot of my time. It takes about an hour and a half every day, and I gotta do work and stuff sometimes, so sometimes I just can't make a video. But the main reason is constantly focusing on the war is kind of affecting my mental health. It's almost like my emotions and Ukraine are directly connected. Because when Ukraine is winning, I get really happy, but when it's in a stalemate or Russia's progressing, it makes me feel really stressed out. It's really weird to explain, but I followed the conflict so closely that it's like directly intertwined with my life. But it's not that big a deal. It's not that deep, and I think I can keep going, and I'll keep making videos for you guys. And with that, a big thank you to my channel members: Gene Helfrich, Stieg Grun, Butleresque, David Appel, Delo Mafatas, Evan Shin, and a special thanks to my third tier Astley C137. Also, shout out to JG Bashlow for finding my Patreon after I haven't promoted it since September.